G'day sports fans, welcome back to State of Corona, the quest to crush COVID-19. Here in Australia it's what we call ANZAC Day, well here in Australia and in New Zealand. It's our Remembrance Day, Veterans Day, tribute to War Dead Day sort of thing, but for the Australian and New Zealand people it's something much more that just goes to the heart of who we are, and it's probably one of the most special days on our calendars. So at 5:30 this morning, well, actually before that was my wife and I out on our balcony. We had a beautiful thing that a local Queensland teacher had the idea, music for mateship, and basically encouraged everyone that could play an instrument to go out and play the last post at 6 o'clock this morning, which I did. I played my flute very badly, as best as I could though. But no, it was just a beautiful way to start a very special day on our calendar. But we're not here to talk about ANZAC Day. We are here to talk about COVID-19. So if we look at the total figures, how are we looking since I last spoke to you a week ago? I think we're looking pretty damn good. And now people are starting to acknowledge that. The authorities, the experts are all sort of now going, oh yeah, we've done a very good job of beating this thing, but the question is, where do we go from here? Now, of course, a lot of people say, me too, let's not be complacent about this, because Australia has done a stellar job. Like, you look at that. Like, it's now 10 days at least that we haven't had numbers more than 1% increase day on day, which is just phenomenal. So, given it's only a couple of weeks ago now, this is the 10th episode of it's pretty amazing when given that this is only episode 10 of this, and only started a couple of weeks ago, and I expected these trajectories, like if we look at the individual states' trajectories, I expected this to take months to get under control. But look at it. NT, flat. ACT, flat. Tassie's had some issues, definitely. South Australia, close to flat. Western Australia, close to flat. Queensland, not far off flat. Victoria, little climb. New South Wales, almost starting to flatten out. So all things considered, I think those numbers are absolutely phenomenal. And thankfully, people are starting to recognise that. So what's been going through my mind of late is, where do we go from here? Just one thing, thinking to a country that's less than half our size, Sweden. You've probably heard the stories. They decided to go with the herd immunity way of going. Now, they've only got 10 million people, a bit over 10 million. We've got 25-ish, roughly. We've got 80 people dead. They've got over 2,100 dead. They've got 17,500 cases. Haven't even got 7,000. So they're less than half our population, more than double. If you look at the per million of population, we've had 3 people per million of population die. The Swedes have had 213. We've had 3. They've had 213. Now, I've heard a lot of the theories about how we may be doing the wrong thing, and the second wave is going to bite us even harder. Let's hope it doesn't, but the Swedes, IKEA and Volvo says this is the way to go. I don't know if that's a very good Swedish accent, but they seem to think they're doing the right thing. They do sort of refer to, whether you call it you look at the figures, and the others. Well, for a lot of people, the others are their everything. And yes, I've got good friends and very close friends that have got, myself included, got vulnerable loved ones around us that if we go, that's just a statistic. Well, maybe you can rationalise that if you're Swedish, but here, no. I'd rather stick to the Star Trek sort of, Star Trek was just a science fiction TV series to a lot of people. There were some really good philosophical thoughts behind a lot of the scripts. Like there was often the conflict between Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. Mr. Spock was always, Captain, we can sacrifice the few for the good of the many. And Captain Kirk would go, no, if there's one person out there, we will still go back and save them. So I think Mr. Spock would be more like a Swede and Captain Kirk's more like an Australian. So, we'll save everyone we can. We may in turn learn that we have done it wrong. We've done the wrong thing, but at the moment, I think we're better off going with the sort of lines that we've got than what Sweden's got. And no disrespect to the Swedes, none of us know what to do here from past experience, and it is literally, people keep saying unprecedented. It is unprecedented. So politicians, scientists, doctors, we're all, well, not that I'm one of them, but they're all doing their damn best wherever they are. So, yeah, I'm all for the way we're going, but let's hope it doesn't come back and bite us as some sort of second wave. I've got to say, one other thought just before I sign off, and as I say, this is the 10th episode of this we've done. One thing I've been thinking about of late is, okay, a country like Australia, if we've isolated, we've nailed it, we've got this thing completely pinned down, international travel. Okay, we may start opening up restaurants, bars, clubs, nightclubs, eateries, pubs. When's that decision going to be made that we've isolated ourselves on this island and it's like, well, you know, the airlines want to start bringing people here again and Australians want to start leaving Australia and coming back. It's like, ooh, what are we going to do? Are we just going to restrict travel between us and other countries that have flattened their curve like us? If we do that, the way the US is looking, none of us are going to be going to the US for a while. So anyway, just ponder that. I'd love everybody's thoughts or any thoughts that you've got on that actual subject, because, yeah, I'm just fascinated to see how we are actually going to emerge the other side of this. So anyway, well done all of us. I hope that whatever you've done for ANZAC Day, you've marked it in an appropriate way from home, safely. And yeah, in terms of where we go from here, we all just keep soldering on like ANZAC. So I guess because we've flattened our curves, we've done well, we're just got to make sure whatever move we do next is the right one. So until I might catch up with you in about a week, unless something major happens. Till then, I'm signing off again from State of Corona, the quest to crush COVID-19. See you again soon. Bye.